I will call, or this is a special meeting for the Georgetown Divide Public Utility District. Today is Monday, May 11th, 2026, and it is PM. Want a roll call? Do we need to do that?
Yeah.
Please.
Member Hellick, Member Miller,
I'm sorry. Are you present?
Yes, I am, sort of.
Member Goring,
Present.
In and out.
Board Liaison Saunders,
Present.
Board.
We do the Pledge of Allegiance. Taylor, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance today?
I can do that. I pledge allegiance to the flag which stands one nation under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh. Okay, colleagues, have you an opportunity to look at the agenda for today? Yes, all right. We have a motion to adopt the agenda? Oh, me neither. A motion to adopt the
I
agenda?
make a motion, we adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor, or should we do this by, I think we have to do this by roll call since we're, no, all in favor?
Aye.
We need to do
Aye.
public comments.
Well, I was gonna do that next.
Oh, for the agenda is fine.
Yeah, we just wanted this just for the agenda. All right. for today.
Street doesn't have her hand raised, so you want to ask her if her
Okay.
board related.
Oh,
Sheree?
No, not on that. It's just that the Zoom is really choppy. I can hear the audio, but the Zoom is choppy, so I don't know what's going on. It's a different setting, like a lower
Okay, thank you.
resolution.
Fix that?
We don't have anything to
Okay. Can we open up public comments now? Anyone in line have a public comment? Before we get into business of the day? All right, hearing none. Let's move to approval of the minutes from the last meeting, which was, I guess, January 22nd. Was that the last meeting? January 2026. Colleagues, did you have an opportunity to look at those minutes?
yes.
Any questions,
Nope.
comments?
Nope.
Okay. The only comments I have is I wanted to note that, I guess the new audit will be posted on site once it's finalized. We've looked at it and reviewed it, but I'm not sure that it's all signed off. But we want to put that on the website. I noticed all the other audits were on the website, and we'll put the latest one on. And there were two things that we talked about putting on the agenda in the future. One was, Director Son talked about mixed rates on the property taxes. The other one is trust fund funded liability. So later today, I'm gonna see.
If you'll allow me, the first one, we're not quite there yet. We could totally discuss the possibility of it,
Okay,
but the law still doesn't allow us to do that. We're
okay.
still waiting on an update to that law. Basically, this is an older law that has to do with sanitary. Sewer, the ability to do for sanitary. You can absolutely talk about what that means and how it could work, but right now we're not quite there yet.
Okay, well, I think when we get later on and talk about future agenda items, we can discuss that further, but if we're not. Okay. I guess we need a motion to adopt the minutes from the January 22nd. 26. I make a motion to adopt.
Best I can.
I noticed the new format.
Yeah, so it's all coming from OpenGov now, so we're officially in OpenGov, and I know that the public will be happy to know. Once we're fully switched over, we will have a small training for people to be able to do this online. I think this will end up being everything that Socrata was not, which is gonna be a good thing. But we're almost there. We're not quite done with the utility billing portion of the switchover, so this is the budgetary portion, and it's basically taking all the numbers that we input into our asset management software, and it kicks out a budget. So we don't have to guess anymore. We don't have to say, well, we think we're gonna buy this many pieces of valve, we're gonna buy this many fittings. We know exactly what we used last year, and we can kind of look and discern whether or not those are accurate numbers now.
Good. Well, I went through it. I didn't really have any questions. Colleagues, any questions? Yes.
So, yeah, any board. I think for the public, I wanted to clarify a couple things, on page one,
Mhm.
under miscellaneous revenue, for the,
Give you what page you're on there?
yeah, page number one.
Page number one.
The 7.9 million of miscellaneous revenue.
7.9.
Yeah, it's
Let me find, hold on, page number one.
about third of the way up.
Up, yeah, installation fee. It's the only one that hasn't.
Ninth from the
Yeah.
bottom.
I am not seeing those numbers. Are you on budget to actuals, or which page are you on here?
Budget tax.
On the revenues, 100, water fund,
Budget to actuals.
but it's before the, grant proceeds.
You said 9 from the bottom, so let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah.
7, 8. Interest income at 9.
We're not looking at the same.
Page one.
Keep going down.
Miscellaneous revenue.
It's 7,960.
Oh, sorry, found it.
Yeah.
The gray hair is showing. Sorry.
At least you have hair.
I would say we received from the PG&E settlement.
Oh,
I wanted that pen on the record.
Oh, got it. Sorry.
That's.
So
my question.
we settled with PG&E. That would be the money that we settled. Not all of that kind of is existing here. Some of that does get paid back, but that is the money that came in from that settlement. Some of it gets paid at other agencies, FEMA and USDA and stuff like that.
And then on page 5, the line item right above 520, there's a 548% increase. Does that have to do with security gates being installed that was paid for by a grant?
That we never got that grant,
Oh,
but no, that's to pay for. We took some of our surplus funds and we purchased an AV to move a small wood chipper around, and it's underneath my signing authority, so that was placed there.
and then on page 8 and 9, on the first column, budget 2026, I assume that's gonna be in as,
Page 9, you said?
yeah, 9,
Uh-huh,
oh, I see.
the second column
uh-huh,
under where all the zeros are.
okay.
Those are gonna be filled in from budget from FY 26 at a future date.
Oh, I see what you're talking about.
Best I can say is they have not been updated yet.
Okay.
There's, yeah, this is still a bit of a work in progress.
That's what I expected to hear. That's it.
Whenever whenever all the questions are submitted.
Go ahead.
I'm happy to report that I got an email, this is, the board knows about this, but probably hasn't even checked their emails yet. But we did receive confirmation that Senator Padilla selected our hydroelectric appropriation to be submitted in his FY 27-28 fiscal year appropriations list. So the amount was $5 million. And that will be to construct a hydroelectric generator on the bottom of the Stumpy Dam,
Yay.
Mark Edson Dam. So that'd be great news.
Well, don't, yeah, haven't passed the budget in 2 years.
We're gonna hope,
It's nice to you know you're in the game though.
honestly, this is approved, so we're gonna hope that the second time is the charm this time.
At least you made the playoffs, right? Okay. I think we can move on to the next agenda item, which is the third quarter investment report.
So if you have any questions, I'm happy to.
Only thing I know is that you know, the weighted yield maturity is 4 and holding point 4 years, which I think that's reasonable for a utility. I think that's good.
Some good news. So you may notice that we do not have a lot of money in our account. I will buy a class. I believe there's maybe 10,000 in there. Quote me on the number. We put that money out. And we are now running it in the money market for River City Bank. We were getting ready to transfer money back into LAIF after receiving the settlements in the process. We had to, it's a multi-step process to wire money that, you know, it's the same rate as LAIF. And so they're mirroring our LAIF rate.
Wow.
They were giving us LAIF minus negotiated, and now we're just, so there's very little money in those two accounts. We're getting it. It makes our money a little bit easier to much more liquid.
Well, good. Yeah, I'm pleased with the way the investments are being handled. And, you know, it's very helpful. I think it's helpful to ratepayers, and I think it's handled in a very prudent manner. And pleased with, you know, the way it's been handled. Okay, any other comments on that? Yes.
Yeah, I don't have page number, I just wanted to point it, it seems to be a low number on one of the US Bank pages that year to date we have interest income of $47,000.
I think it's more than that.
I think that's just one.
Yeah,
That's one investment.
So anytime something matures, we either reinvest or we move it over to the bank, depending on what the needs of the system are at that time. If we're doing most of that money from Memphis, that was part of the deal when we started this new investment policy. So as we do projects, we move that money over as it becomes available to cover those costs. If we don't have any costs that need to be incurred at that time, then we would reinvest that into another CD. So I want to say there's still almost $30 million in CDs. And then we have like $8.3 million money at River City Bank.
Yes, sir.
And then 2 pages before the last screen under the US Bank. Just could you clarify why it's tax cost? $399,000. I didn't. That seems to be
Second
last page.
Yeah.
Summary.
I think that is when I'll have to get back to you on that one,
Yeah,
but my thought is when thing matures, it's how much to tax you if you did get to see, we're not charged tax there.
Yeah.
That's
A lot of times when you buy,
Right,
you know,
exactly.
when you buy this stuff, they discount it and then
that's what gave.
my guess, I don't know, I'm not the bank.
Okay, that's all that I have on that section.
Okay, any other comments on the investment? All right, let's move on to the grant report, Nick.
Yeah, no other updates besides the one that I just gave. I didn't realize, I was taking things a lot of order, so I apologize for that. We are working with the USDA to get that project underway, this fall, so that'd be October. We're working with State Board, I don't know if I mentioned to this committee or not, but I did have mentioned to the board. In the event that the Quintet Service Corporation is absorbed into Georgetown Divide, we have an option of receiving either a $1 million grant that's free to us, or a $10 million interest-free loan that is, I think, a repayment of 40 or 50 years. So
Say that again.
if if and when, I don't know how I would say that, that's rather, if Quintet is ever absorbed into the district, kind of a thank you-ish, or a, you know, we appreciate you doing this. We can receive as a district a $1 million grant to do projects on the existing system, or a $10 million no interest, so zero interest loan. That would be, I think the repayment plan is 30, 40, or 50 years. It depends on how much money you borrow. But,
Interest free.
but completely interest free. So I mean, at those long times, it basically becomes free money. So,
Where's this be a board discussion in the future?
oh, it won't happen until we absorb Quintet, but yes, it'll absolutely be a board discussion.
Where's the money coming from?
The state of
The
California.
SAFER program, so the SAFER program has, money they set aside for California areas that have, problems with, drinking water, so they meet the criteria, so they're able to get funding, and it will also help pay for their, treatment plant and tank.
Yeah, but that's besides that. So there's,
I mean, the money comes from the SAFER program, it's all.
Yeah, the project to rehab Quintet is about 13.5 million. And the whole time we ever say this, you wanna pay all that, we'll be happy to take over. And every time they come back with lower numbers, we're like, no, thank you.
Mhm.
And then finally, I think we were settled on 13.5 million. The project will be completed. We will be, like the contract. Contract E, I guess, but it's still gonna be borne by them, and then once all the project is over, then we would take it over, kind of like a transfer of ownership. Once that happens is when we have the option of doing either a loan or a grant. We have a couple of projects we have in mind for that, so I'll present those to the board at that time, but you know, we'll see kind of what happens. We could take the $10 million and we could do lots of projects here or there,
Mhm.
or we could take the 1 million and not have to worry about payback.
Or we could take the 10 million and use it as an in-kind for another loan and parlay it.
We could do that, yeah, there's like I said, there's lots of options,
Okay.
so we're just trying to figure out how best to serve the community.
Wow, I never expected that.
Yeah,
Opportunity.
I've done these a few times, these consolidations, and typically there's it's a thank you for doing this, but more it's we understand that we're kind of putting you out, and so here's how you can continue your projects on your end, even while managing this new system.
And it's an incentive.
That's a good word for it, isn't it? Yeah.
Let me just ask a general question. You know, all these are, the awards have been there, they're in progress. Are we getting funding from these grants in time to pay our bills when we're in the middle of the projects?
So all the projects, typically 80% of grants are reimbursable costs.
Okay.
So you pay for them and then you do the work and then you get reimbursed. So honestly, the settlement money is very helpful to us. because it helps us give us in and out cash.
Got it.
So we can pay out, and then we can get money back in, and we can pay money out. And typically those revolve anywhere between you're paying out $500,000-ish to $1 million, and then you're getting a check back for that same amount.
And what's the duration? What's your waiting period to get the check back on the grant?
So, depends on what agency you're working with. The USDA seems to be a little bit faster. Working with some states, anywhere between 30 to 60 or 90 days.
Okay, that's
It's
reasonable.
not like multiple years.
Okay, got it. That was my concern. How long does it take? You know, you gotta wait 3 years for your money.
Usually the invoices are submitted quarterly. And then once you submit it, it's usually 30 to 60 days to get the money back.
Okay, good. Any comments on the grants? Grant resolution?
I like to keep you engaged.
No, I'm engaged.
Okay.
You'll know it if I've got a problem.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, and probably the big one for today, is gonna be the budget. Which, again, I apologize for not having to meet for such a long period of time. I did go back and read the Brown Act, and yes, we have to have a quorum in the room, so. So be it, you know, this is what it's gonna be. I had a family emergency last month, and that was the unfortunate thing, and I thought we could meet, but you can't, so. We need to get some more people. I asked just about everybody I know. And, you know, if we get another member, it would be most helpful. Okay. You want to start going through the budget, Nick, or how do you want to handle?
Sure, we can go through it. You can see, first off, I'm not sure if anybody noticed online, but we did have to change the accounting codes, so that's not
Yeah.
something that we chose to do. It's just the way the new system works.
Sorry,
We dropped a 0 off of everything.
yes,
But if you want to start with 510, which used to be 5,100.
but I will notice that, you know, revenue is still, we're at 7.9 on revenue and 6.5 on the budget, so. You know, it's nice to know your revenue is more than your budget. We were talking about offline, Director Saunders and I were talking about the deficit that the county is running. And it's nice to know that we at least are not running a deficit and are being diligent in trying to make sure that our bills are paid with the money that comes in.
And so just so you know, you point out a good thing, that 7.9 coming in and the 6.5 going out. There isn't extra money that's coming in. That this does not account for capital improvement, so there's 800,000 of that money that gets set aside to go into our capital improvement plan. And then the rest of the money, I believe it's between 300,000 and 400,000 goes to our reserve account. So there's always money that needs to kind of be put into that reserve account so that we have, keep building that in case we do have an emergency someday. And that came out of our cost of service analysis, so. Out of that 800,000 is what we budgeted for in the capital improvement plan. And we have a couple of contingent items in case we don't spend all or can't do all the projects. But when we develop that capital improvement, you'll see in a little bit, we've used that 800,000 number as our kind of stopping point. Okay.
Just on the cover page, before we go to the 50. I'm so used to 100.
510,
510. It appears as though there's a budget increase from last year of 3.6%,
Correct.
which is totally manageable.
It is, so I think the overall,
Yes,
I think the overall is 11% if you take everything into account.
but those figures, as far as that, what I
Yeah.
thought was a 3.6%.
And if you see anything that's, you know, you wanna talk about, we could totally talk about, but. You know, kind of like pick out some of the high level stuff. So, I mean, you can see salaries are going up, approximately $50,000. And I mean, that's pretty reasonable. There's quite a few people that are in this department.
What I don't understand, Nick, is it's going up 23%. I get that, but why are the actuals lagging so far behind them? I'm saying,
I'm not sure when this was
okay,
pulled.
so, yeah,
We don't, it maybe have pulled all the way back to March.
okay, okay,
Because we don't actually, we wait 30 days before we can actually say something is
got it,
right and accurate. Because we have to go back and verify everything.
got it,
So you're probably looking at March numbers.
okay.
That's a great question for Jessica. If she was.
Well, I know, well, as I went through this, I was looking at the actuals versus the budget and comparing one to the other, so I just, if that's the case, that's fine, that's, set out a table and we can move forward, okay, go ahead.
So, and I will, I wanted to find it, the UAL has gone down considerably.
That was another one of my questions, how come?
Well, that's the good news of CalPERS, they finally had good years, they're like, please taking it.
We have 2 years where it will go down.
And so basically, with all the higher interest rates that came out over the last few years and everything. The investments in CalPERS have been stronger, so they've seen more gains and more returns on their investments. So obviously that all gets turned around to us.
Great,
Talking about what Director Saunders talked about earlier is a perfect opportunity, perfect segue to get into a CalTrust or a 115T plan. T, right? 115T, right? 150. So 115T plan is basically we put money into an account that can only go to these UAL costs. And so we build this up, and it gains interest just like every other type of investment account. And then as we need to pick payments when unfunded liabilities come out, we can pay out of that account.
right,
So our thought, kind of something we've discussed in the past as a board, and something I'm going to recommend to the board is we have this big solar project that we're doing, and taking some of the funding that we're paying to PG&E now and making monthly deposits into the UAL in the same amount, into this 115T plan in the same amount. And that basically builds about $300,000 a year in funding that can go towards these costs. So, this is a huge kind of cloud, so to speak, over our heads. But I will say ours is a lot less than other places. We're just not a big agency. Obviously, we have less revenue coming in, but there's some agencies that have some really high numbers in these areas.
Mhm.
So, but that's one way that we can get ahead of that number. Kind of moving forward, there's not a ton. We have kind of moved some things around a little bit.
right,
When every year the government makes, or I guess the accounting standard board makes us move things around and reallocate how things are budgeted. So sometimes it has to be in a certain line item. So if you see large changes, that's possibly where things are coming from.
okay,
And then other things that you're seeing are when I told you that this came out of our asset management software. And so, we're taking our best guess going in. And if we're way off, we're going to make sure that we take the guess that's coming into the system, because it's telling us things that we're maybe not seeing or not thinking about. But hey, don't forget, these are all the expenses that came into this account.
Right.
So that's where some of these numbers are a little higher. You see materials and supplies, and you see, leases have gone up a little bit, and rentals and leases. Those are things that we are having to use now. We did have a rental truck here for a while because the the dump truck was broken.
right,
So maybe that's a little high, and that's something that we can discuss coming back down to a more reasonable number. But we're just taking the numbers that are being spit out of the machine.
got it.
Now
So that's one that I had marked, 163%, that may be something you may wanna.
Yes.
Wanna tweak.
Now, vehicle maintenance is kind of a big one and an interesting one because we are getting some newer vehicles, and so some of our older vehicles are not going to be either on the road as much, or we have surplus them out. So, we have a newer vehicle, obviously you still have warranties and you have less maintenance costs. So that's always a good sign. One of the benefits of buying newer vehicles, obviously it's a high outlay of cash, but then you kind of save on the back end of not having to maintain them as much.
And I just wanna say, the stuff above the line that we, basically, the personnel costs.
We don't have much choice.
Exactly. I didn't want to call them fixed costs, but they're pretty much fixed costs. There's only so much we can do with those. And so I like to pay special attention to stuff below that line, which are more discretionary. And I really don't have any real comments about any of those. I mean, they seem to be, pretty much reasonable. I do have one with regard to government regulation fees.
Yep.
Where, if the actuals are correct, we got $220,000 there and we're cutting it basically in half. So this may have been a exceptional year. There may be something going on there. I don't know.
I got the perfect person in the room to answer that. I think we had a dam.
This is Walkie, which one you got?
I'm looking-
Rental 5100, 510, 5010.
Fifth one from the top.
Yeah, so our dam fees hit different times of year, so probably hit
Probably have
this year yet, we just paid it, so probably it's not on this yet. So that's saying like,
Sometimes we pay 2 dam fees in a year.
Got it.
Also, that could be that we got charged 5 years. Use fees to the Forest Service for having our canals go through their property, which.
we get charged in, 5 years.
Yeah, so
They're charging us for our canals to go through their land.
Yeah, but that was one cost that came through as treasurer. I said, what is this? And that's the answer that's why you see a significant increase in the difference between actuals and adopted budget in that particular area, I suppose.
Okay.
Moving into 50, I'm gonna do the same thing. 5, if you have a question. Bill?
Yeah, what is our utilities, the fourth run from the bottom?
Yep.
That's something moved around with the 500% increase in
That
utilities.
is, so utilities are. It's a GASB standard and it has
Yeah.
to do with, some of that is like, we have a special satellite cell phone plan that we have where the guys are up there. We have all kinds, I could tell you what they all are if you let me break it all down, but it's all different kinds of things that we put in there that have to be moved out of certain areas and
Okay,
put
so
in
it's a
there.
moved issue.
Correct.
All right.
And I was looking at the actuals on that one too. So I mean, you're following your actuals. Yeah.
Okay.
520.
520,
Now, this is one that I do have some questions on, because you got 0 on overtime, you got 0 on standby pay.
yeah, that looks like it shouldn't be like.
And then you got 0 on workers' comp and 0 on retirement expenses too.
I'm gonna imagine that's a glitch in the matrix.
Okay, so we've got it's happening in multiple ones of these.
This is happening because of the switchover.
Okay,
So there's certain boxes that Jessica has to check to make these real.
okay.
And then these are the things that she's going through right now and checking and figuring out. And I know that that's not the answer that everyone wants to hear, but she had to build this book like from scratch, kind of. So it's it wasn't as easy. It will be easy moving forward, but this is kind of like the first year of doing a new budget. You have to kind of check the right boxes and verify stuff.
I'm not being critical of anyone. I'm just looking at what it's there, knowing we've got a workshop coming up at the end of the month.
Oh, I imagine this will be done in about a week.
But we won't get a chance to look at it.
We can send it out to you beforehand.
I think that would be most beneficial.
Yeah.
Because I don't wanna go to the meeting with new numbers that we haven't looked at. And, the board may ask us questions, what do you think of this or that? That did happen last time, and I'd like to know what they are. So that would be most beneficial.
Yeah.
Because then all of the numbers are gonna change.
So for example, these are all gonna be relatively the same as last year. We won't have any
That's my
increase in
guess.
standby pay, the overtime will be the same. Part-time will be the same, which we don't really use part-time in that area.
Right.
If we can't avoid it. The workers' comp will be the same and the PERS expenses will all be the same.
Okay.
So it's just it's a linkage issue inside the book, the box.
Let me ask you this question then. Is the money basically to cover these expenses already included in this budget, just hidden someplace else?
I would say it's not.
Okay,
So I
so
don't think it's enough to set us over with the numbers you were asking about earlier.
okay,
I do want to make a comment about. I'm very pleased in this presentation. I don't necessarily look at numbers, I look at percentages.
I do too.
And to look at these and percentages.
I will
It,
take,
it gives a red line to me and when you go backwards.
I agree.
I will take none of the credit for this. This was a Jessica project. And
If I could add, one thing down the line, so raw water, as we get our hydro coming in, that revenue will go there. So one thing to think of moving forward is to think of putting in a reserve for raw water because irrigation doesn't have a big bucket, so some of that can be used to cover additional, repairs or things like that.
or special projects,
Special
so we've had
projects.
one that we've been
So there was
discussing.
one that comes up, so that's one way we can look at it with the board to help with some of the offsets with hydro.
And if the board, that's a request from the board to set up a special. It would be a restricted.
Yeah.
Sort of fund, not restricted in the sense that we couldn't use it, but it would be a restricted fund that would be used only for raw water projects.
And, you know, it's just an allocation of different, it's kind of like what you're talking about, unfunded liability, you know, it's like a sinking fund that you would have, so, you know, yeah, it's available. Okay, well then, below the line, only thing is vehicle operating fuel, and, you know, we're just bumped it a little bit, and I guess if it gets really bad, we can always talk about an amendment down the road. I'm not sure we want to make that change now, but I don't know what's gonna happen with.
My comment is that the finance committee is gonna make a recommendation at the end of the calendar year when we're looking at rates.
I think,
And let's look at that
Like
at
last
that
year.
point in time.
Like last
Because
year.
nobody has a clue where operating fuel costs are gonna go, but we will know at that point in time. But I totally agree. Let's
I think,
look at that back.
I also think if you look at where we have come through the year, we overestimated.
Right.
So I think that's where like, it's just a little bit of a bump, you know, maybe we're not right still. But I don't think we need to go we're not trying to go drastic either.
And sometimes that cost is also heavy equipment that gets out, it gets worked up there, so that can, we try to kind of. Sometimes we do more work up there than other years, we try to kind of find the sweet spot there as well.
Move to next. 5:30,
Yeah.
and again, we have the same issue with regard to overtime, standby pay.
Yes, send me that.
Insurance.
It's gotta be something in the back end of the software.
But as far as, again, the stuff below the line, I don't, other than, I notice a fairly substantial increase in professional services.
In
It's on the
building.
next page, yeah, it's on.
Mine is on, I have mine is front and back printed, so.
Yeah, mine too, yeah, but at the top of the next page. Up the page.
I can speak to professional services more. So professional service, we have under our insurance company, we have to do a hazard assessment for electrical shock. And that's in this budget this year, so go through and update our update that. We have, it's pretty complete at the our treatment plant. We have to do Walton Lake, so added cost for the company to come in and do that. It's not
Okay,
arc flash, I guess.
There's the tunnel safety also in there, cause I know we have to do that as well, I think.
So there's CIP.
It's under
That's under CIP.
And we don't have to do anything this year, but I think we're gonna do it next year.
okay,
That's why that cost for that.
Can you address the increase in building maintenance? 51,202.
Yeah, so I think that's a percentage that looks very high, but the actual cost.
It costs us minimal.
Yeah, it costs minimal, so we're gonna pretty much some small upgrades. maybe
Yeah,
for your-
that's sort of the
Yeah.
two. You gotta look at it two ways.
Yeah. And that's most of the building maintenance come with wall. Some of the desks and the sink area is just older there, so we're trying to update that. Thank you.
at 5:40. There's a significant increase in salary, so do we have a staffing increase here, or did they move some people around, or?
No, we have a full crew finally. So, we in the past were not putting full salaries, so. This is one of our bigger areas in what we learned, government standards or accepted standards, I don't know which word, you should budget for the final step. The one of the reasons that this is so dramatic is because of the salaries here are higher. In those final steps, so we have to, we're not gonna use all that money. But when we budget for it, you should budget for it being in their final step. That's what CAMFO standards are. And so that's why that changed.
Okay, well then let's back up on 530 because salaries there were declined by 63.
Yeah, so
Do we have staff reduction? I guess that, what I thought was
So
they
the
were removing people or allocations.
we allocate people differently, yes.
Okay, so these are just people allocations, not really a staffing thing. It's just if I got somebody on a different.
540 is specific people, so. 510, 520 are maintenance workers, canal operators, and we have a lead. 530 is, we have three treatment operators. 540, you have some of the maintenance workers and you have all of the distribution operators. So this is one of our, these are certified staff, so these are a little bit higher salaried staff.
That's fine. I just wondered why there was a difference in, the allocation.
Sure.
Okay, and again, when we got the overtime standby and all that, but. Again, professional services on this one, it's not dollar wise, it's not a lot, but it is an increase 178%.
So same thing with our flagstaff, but it applies to our pump stations as well.
Okay,
It has not been done there.
got it. Okay. $560. And. And above the line. One of the questions I had was on payroll taxes. The significant increase in payroll taxes over last year.
That's something I'll take a look at. That seems a little tight to me too.
That doesn't seem right. If you have an 8% increase in salary, you should have an 8% increase in payroll taxes.
Well, we pay all of the payroll taxes out of this account, so this would account for
okay.
all of the payroll taxes for the entire,
For everybody.
this is for everyone.
Okay.
But I still feel like that's higher than it should be.
Okay.
Yeah, 50 or 560 is the catch-all for health insurance, all the extra, things for the entire area. Anything that's not included in the other departments all falls into 560.
There was also a big jump in health insurance for 540. Oh, sorry, payroll taxes for 540, it like more than doubled.
Yeah. You're right.
You see that, Nick?
I do see that.
Mm.
Let me get back to you on that one. I will, that doesn't, that looks like a no iron.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I had that note too. And then below the line, we've got a savings on software licenses.
So. That is going to be the removal of Tyler, I believe.
Got it. And that's why it was more, at least the actuals were more this year.
Correct. Well, the switch over to OpenGov and removing the Tyler software, and we're removing Mom
I was
software.
about to say, we're finally getting rid of mom.
Let me, don't steal my thunder. So all those costs will be by June 30th, we are not paying for any of that anymore.
Okay, good. And you have zero budgeted for building maintenance.
So. We don't have a lot to do. We are gonna upgrade the doors in here and get some windows. So we're trying to, I think, get some costs still on how much that's gonna be.
But it's under CFP too.
Oh, do we do CIP?
So, yeah.
Okay. Cause we did all the energy efficient windows on the front here, and we have like 4 or 5 of them in the back here, and then. That door and the door, not the one that slides, not the pocket door, but the one inside Taylor's door is gonna be a soundproof door. And then we're looking at insulating that wall right there as well. For closed sessions.
Good. We got a increase in professional services.
So I think,
And the reason I'm looking at it again, I mean, I don't know how the actuals are running right now. But your actuals are running a lot less than last year's budget. Now we've got a 23% increase in the budget.
so I think the professional services, we pulled,
Somewhere in the CIP.
we pulled, so we had run our engineer, our environmental consultant and our grant writer underneath CIP, which was a really weird way of doing that. So we are pulling that back and putting it into the actual operating budget. Because we use those for different functions, and we can still pull those costs and put them underneath the CIP project later if we need to. But there are certain times when we are doing kind of a one-off or a building maintenance, and we have to have an engineer come in and just look at something that's small. We want to make sure that we're budgeting for those under our operating costs as opposed to our capital costs.
Yeah. Makes sense. GL policy went up,
What was the word you said there?
general liability
Oh, yeah, it
insurance.
goes up every year.
Okay, 62%.
We don't have any choice in that. That is,
Oh,
we just get a bill and it's from our JPA representatives and we just had to pay it, so. I'm sure it has to do with the fires.
I was gonna say, are we in fair plan here? Is it really?
It doesn't have anything to do with us necessarily. We're a pooled, we're actually considered self-insured through that pool. But we're self-insured with 400 other agencies.
Yeah.
And so when they have high costs, then we have high costs because it all has to come out of the same pool.
Got a modest increase in legal, but last year the actuals were heavy. Are we okay with that?
We are actually, we're on the decline with legal costs, so.
Good.
We have realized our high legal bills and I'm hoping that we're in smooth sailing territory.
Good. And minus $2
Yeah, the payroll
processing
processing,
fee.
that was like,
I like this new software.
I don't know if that's a real thing or.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not. I'm sure Jessica's gonna go back and listen to this and be like, I know the stuff is wrong. I know I'm trying to link everything back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, I just, I understand, fully understand. I just wanted.
And I wish
before-
she's like deathly ill today, so.
Before we sit down in front of the board, it'd be nice to at least have something that's a little.
I'm pretty sure she'll be, when she's back and able, she's gonna be like checking all the right boxes.
Okay. And then I have no comments on zone at all, but
Yeah, so zone it hasn't, nothing really changed much there.
Okay.
We could do the consolidated expenses if you like, or we can move to the capital improvement plan. These are,
well, the revenue source one was the one I asked. It would be nice if it's true, but $8.5 million. And $42 million coming out of residential sales, you see what I'm looking at?
no,
Okay, I think we dropped some zeros. Take a look at where the actual is.
what page are you on?
I'm looking, I don't know.
Oh,
Right
right
here.
here, yes,
All right, you see it? I think it's that whole column. Adopted budget for fiscal year 2026.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It doesn't match the budget.
No,
Oh, supplement.
It's $190 million. I think what happened there is.
No, it's perfect, that's word.
Right.
We're right on track.
So I think we've got,
Committee's job.
I think there's some zeros, there's some zero mistakes there, probably, in the coding. Cells. So, okay.
Moving to capital improvement. Oh, I guess we have, if you wanna look at this, we have this as well. This is kind of our previous revenues.
I kind of like this thing because it shows you what's remaining on the budgets or any given month when we meet. That's the one thing I do like.
Okay.
That percent remaining. I don't know. I like this format because I'm used to it, and it also lets you go back and look at prior years. Exactly. That I think is, kind of beneficial.
And speaking of zeros.
Yeah.
On the cover page, C, non-operating revenues. It says that we have It's doubled in there, it's like 2.5 million. The word million should not be included after that number.
Oh, yeah, that's,
Like, that's up in the.
this is, we write this out, so that's just a typo.
Just a typo.
Okay, capital improvement plan. It's so big that you really can read it. But basically, we sat down and looked at, and when I say we, it's me and Adam who put this together.
Mhm.
But the biggest thing is the tank coating that we're doing.
Yep.
And some of that is from last year's improvement plan as well, so it's not gonna be the full bore, full 800,000 in this year. Some of that is gonna come out of what we're supposed to spend last year. We have had the worst time trying to get a company to come in and do that project. We had bid challenges, we had change orders already. It's been a little bit of a nightmare trying to get somebody to do the work because it is a very difficult tank, and I'm not giving that up. But we awarded to low bidder because that's who you have to award to, and unfortunately, we are getting the
Sometimes you get the bear, sometimes bear gets you.
something like that.
With low bid, I mean, it just happens.
Yeah, it does happen, and so we are working through that. I believe our hope is this fall. I'm gonna look at Adam. This has been like a 2-year process to get this one tank done, and it's a little bit wilder than I'm hoping for, so. Hopefully that gets fallen off and it's different charges. We still need to do tank coatings, but this is our biggest one that we're gonna have to do, and so this is kind of the most onerous, and it's the most difficult tank. It's just where it's located, how it operates, the whole kind of this. It's a rough circle. We are doing some upgrades in the upper part here where some of these are safety upgrades, so we are going to apply for some grants for these, but when we get a risk analysis every year from our liability insurance, and there's some areas where they've said this is potentially back and other types of injury susceptibility. So behind our warehouse, we're gonna upgrade that so we can use equipment back there and forklifts and stuff like that, so the pipe guys don't have to hump it with their backs and stuff like that. And then if you move down, our Vector trailer is on its last leg. We're gonna purchase a new one. We're gonna keep the old one as a backup, but we need to get a new one because we keep having to send the one we have in for repairs. It seems like it's down more than it's not. So having a backup to a brand new one will be advantageous. We're not sure what is going on with the dredging. Right now, we are working that out. We're trying to still wait on FEMA to get costs to us, and that is going to be a bit of a process. So we have money that's budgeted already in the capital improvement reserve account. But so we don't need to keep budgeting for the full project, but that's what we have right now. The main office retrofit, that's the building maintenance that we were talking about, that we moved it into here because it was a little bit more pricey. So that's the windows, the doors, the insulation. We were gonna maybe look at painting some of the areas because if you look down the front hall, when we redid the office, we moved offices around. The halls we moved and got rid of things, and there's marks on the walls from before we were here. So that's part of that. Raw water excavator. So we are looking to have something that's permanently specifically for raw water, and we're trying to figure out what's the best one to purchase for that.
Okay.
Equipment yard, storage building. So we have a little bit more equipment and we're trying to protect it. So that's also been something from risk analysis, is to make sure that we're not having insurance claims on things that are getting damaged just from the weather and stuff like that. So that's a recommendation. Tunnel inspection. So we did put a little bit of money in for, oh, I'm so sorry, treatment facilities first. That's the gate, I believe, at Walton, right? So we have gates, we have the electric gates here,
Mhm.
And we have the electric gates at Sweetwater, but we do not have one at Walton yet, and so that's the last one we have to do.
Okay.
And then the next one is tunnel inspection. So we put that there, that's kind of one of those ones I was telling you about, that's the contingent one. So we either can do it this year or next year, and we're gonna see where we're making with our $800,000. Um. Vehicle replacements, Adam, do you have the list of what I can't remember what we're trying to replace.
Yes, it'd be it's a truck 31, which is a treatment truck, two F-150s are from 2016.
Yeah.
So two of those.
And then yours, right? Those are
Yeah,
the
but
old
we'll kind of shift them around, so, and then with that, there'll be, the idea was to get EV vehicles for treatment.
Yes.
One will get surplus, the other upcountry truck will get surplus, and we'll kind of shift vehicles around. To have a total of 3 new ones.
So,
here.
yeah, with the solar. We're having EV chargers put, so we may as well use them.
Right.
We have EV chargers going in here, so, we'll have one installed at Walton. We'll have one at both the treatment plants in here. And the guys will have we're looking at the Silverado, electric vehicles. They're really the only pickup truck that's a full-size pickup truck that's gonna be left because the Lightning's got discontinued. But we figure we're already spending the money on EV charging, or excuse me, EV solar and having EV charging, so. The treatment guys, those are some people that we can have with electric vehicles because they're not responding to emergencies out in the field. They're going to a building, and even if the power is out, those buildings are all still on a generator or on batteries or on other sorts of multiple charging sources, so they will never be without power at those electric chargers. Doesn't really work for a guy that's up in the middle of, the woods. And so we're trying to comply with the regulation where we can, but we also are using our exemptions where we need to as well. So the one, we did purchase a Ranger last year that went to treatment, and we're gonna rotate that Ranger, and that's gonna be Adam's new service vehicle for when he goes out to take engineers or goes to check on projects or stuff. So he has a 2004 Chevy right now that is just.
Still good.
I just I signed a check for the maintenance on that. I'm glad to hear this.
Yeah, we seem to lose our transfer case every 2 to 3 years, and it's not, we never put it in a 4-wheel drive, the transfer case just seems to give up the goat no matter what. So it's just, moving, some shifting around, and then,
I just want to add, what I think we're gonna be running into the next few years is, we bought all these small Dodge service trucks, all at the same time. And we're starting to see, more and more expenses, so we're really trying to, kind of take those ones out of the everyday usage one and kind of like, so maybe I might take one. Get a newer truck into distribution where they're getting used every single day and they're used to respond to emergency situations, we're trying to kind of replace all these Dodges out, because they are not the most reliable. The ones we have.
and we're trying not to buy them all at once, so a couple a year, and then it makes it easier on the pocketbook.
Sure. Phase them in, phase them in.
Correct, and then, Walton treatment plant, the turbidity sensors are, I wanna say, Adam told me they're 20 years old, 25 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
So those are.
They don't make the parts for me anymore.
Yeah.
So if they go out. we look at
And then as we continue moving down, those are the other projects that are a little bit more, if we have time or funding and we don't do other things, or we come in under budget, then we can do other things. And then if we go into the CIP projects, for zone. A lot of this is stuff that was supposed to happen last year, but since we were still building the reserve fund from the first year of cost of service, we did not want to spend money we did not have. So now we have some reserve money. We're gonna go back in and do some of the projects that we originally had hoped to do last year.
Good.
And then Adam has put together a plan for some of the restricted fund that we have to kind of clear out some of those accounts. and to do work in specific areas. We have like the Kelsey Fund that's no longer a bond fund. So those are things that he's looking at, kind of finding AMI or other upgradable things in those areas to purchase and close out some of those funds. It's hard when you have 100 buckets and they're all inside one big bucket, because you can't pull out of that one bucket to pay other expenses. But if we designate or delineate a specific thing from that one little bucket, then the rest of the money becomes available for other things. And then we're still working on the grant funding CIP portion of this, because we're trying to figure out what projects we're gonna be having grants funds for. But that's the next piece to that puzzle, and that'll come, we'll have that for the board meeting.
Okay, one question, the solar is not on the CIP,
The solar was on the CIP from last year.
so it's off already now.
It is off already, so technically,
What about the maintenance and stuff? Do we keep that on or?
we need to add that on. But the maintenance won't start until next year. So it'll be $11,000. That's we won't budget for that until the project is completed. And the project won't be completed. It'll be completed right at the end of this fiscal year. That's upcoming. So we're looking at about 9 to 10 months of construction for that project.
Alright. And then another restricted fund possibility, as we talked about with having a reserve for the raw water from hydro, is to have one for the what is the new name of it now? The Sisterhood of Traveling Flumes?
No, we can't be sexist. It can't be fraternity.
Can be fraternity, can't be sister. The order of flumes. That's
Yeah,
what I call
we
it.
have, wait, hold on. We have one wooden flume. And Adam and I have already been looking at how we can replace our one wooden flume. We have two, I will say we have two
We
wooden
have
flumes.
to, yes.
The second wooden flume is of less importance, and it's much smaller, and it is not a critical infrastructure because it's part of our raw water system, but we have one that does run in between Walton and Sweetwater.
Correct.
That Adam and I have been working with our engineer to develop a plan. It's like a trellis bridge
Yeah.
with a flume on the top of it, so it's not the easiest thing to correct, but we are looking at that. And I think the joke that Director Saunders is making is we are not the only ones with
Yeah.
wooden flumes, and this is kind of a thing with the wildfire risk. People are seeing that these wooden flumes are obviously susceptible.
Really?
How do we find funding?
Yeah, we're trying to get funding for it,
And
something.
it's the mountain counties issue, we're very minimal compared to other places.
We're actually very lucky. We do not have I mean, if you go to other areas, they exist on flumes. They exist on wooden flumes, and if they have a wildfire, they're going to have a much greater recovery than we do. I already know we could, if we had this, God forbid, if this flume were to burn, we already have kind of a plan in place as to how to get water around it. It wouldn't be easy and it wouldn't be pretty, but we would be able to get water around it. Now, other areas, I can't say the same.
Cherie? You have a comment?
Well, I'm back at the budget since I didn't get to talk on that. You need the year-to-date actual date, the as-of date for sure, because it's pretty bad not to have that because you can't compare anything. But if you go down to the revenue sources and they look like they're photographs of it, they've got year to actuals, December 10th, 2025.
Where you see?
For revenue
Year-to-date.
sources,
Yeah, I see.
year to date's got December 10th, 2025.
Oh, I see that, yep.
Okay, so unless that's a typo at the top and the figures are correct, we won't know that for sure. And then also on the new budget, are we going to get the accounts, the individual list in each department of the accounts and the breakdown of like supplies and stuff like that?
Yeah, we're trying to do the same thing we have in the past. That's with the new system, that's also having to be built by hand as well. So we're working on that as well.
Okay. So,
And I-
all right, because that would be helpful.
And I do see what you're saying, that is a typo, that is not, we're not, these are not a December 10th.
Yeah. So, but it would be nice to know if this was March or April or, the dates for the budget. So,
We will get
Thanks.
that in there. I will try to make that update for the Wednesday board meeting.
okay.
Okay, thank you. All right, any other comments on the budget, proposed budget? And how long do you think to get a revised?
By the end of the week.
By the board meeting or by the end of the week?
We're gonna do as much as we can by the board meeting. I can't, I don't wanna
Yeah,
guarantee.
that's fine.
Probably is if Jessica's out much by tomorrow, then it'll be
Yeah,
by the end of the week. If she's here tomorrow, I'd say most of it's gonna be fixed by the board meeting.
great.
All right, next item is finance committee member comments and reports. Any comments?
Nothing.
No. All right, agenda items for the next finance committee meeting. Well, the next scheduled finance committee meeting, tentative one, is September 24th of 2026, which I will not be able to attend.
It says here May 28th. No,
Yeah, that, we will get to that. I'm
Oh,
up
okay.
here at 10.
sorry.
And so the next regularly scheduled is gonna be October 22nd of 2026. And what I wanted to propose, Director Saunders talked about at least talking about the trust, the unfunded trust. Or the trust for unfunded liability. Maybe we should have a meeting on the 25th of June, since we haven't had meetings, to at least talk about some of the sundry things we haven't really had an opportunity to do. It'd be post-budget, if you're available, or anytime, doesn't have to necessarily be that day. That's the fourth Wednesday, Thursday, what do we, Thursday, right?
That's the fourth
Fourth Thursday,
In June.
yeah. So if you all are available, I would like to propose. Probably could be a short meeting.
We have it on our calendar, so we're good on our end if you guys wanna do that.
So I'm actually out of town the 24th and 25th. But if you want to do 22nd, 23rd, that week,
I'm
that's Monday, Tuesday.
Or we could do July, the 23rd of July. And I will,
Would you prefer 23rd of July so that,
I don't care.
well, no,
I'm
you
here.
talked about if and when we can also talk about the second
The
issue.
trust is probably
July
more
one.
likely to be, the trust is also not, we're not quite there yet,
Okay.
but, so we have time and it'll
We
give us
can
time.
talk about it, but there is the bill's going on right now. It's
Okay,
2180. So if that bill passes, that's the one, or is it 2018? I can't remember what the number of the bill is.
280 is that the Prop 218 bill?
Yeah, there's another bill that's going through now that has that in it, so.
well, I don't wanna have me just have a meeting. I'd rather have something finalized so that we have an opportunity to talk about something and we can make a decision on, or at least have some serious input.
But the other one is we can plan to see if we have someone who is doing the escrow one talk to us. So even if we're not doing it, we can see how it's done. So we're working with Ernie for that.
Yeah, if you, July would be better, cause we may be able to put together the property tax stuff.
Okay,
Cause Ernie has already said that he'd come and talk to us. Ernie is the
Right.
president of Aqua, but they're also trying, and he's with Contra Costa Water District, and he's
Okay.
kind of driving the ship on this property tax thing. Or when they are, not he, but their district is driving the ship. And then we can have Kel Trust. There's a bunch of 115T plans out there, but we can have somebody come in and talk about them.
would they be available for July 23rd meeting?
I think that's enough time to get somebody here, yes.
Okay,
Are you okay, July 23rd?
yep.
Okay, let's put that on.
You wanna mention July 25th?
I'm going to, but I'm gonna do it as a tentative, so I was waiting for when you guys were all done. I do have a quick announcement.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, that takes care of that issue for the next meeting anyway, so, okay, announcement.
So right now, we are planning, this is all pending board approval on Wednesday, so please don't get mad at me if nothing happens during this changes. But we're trying to advertise this as much as we can, and I'm trying to put this out on the record, so this will be the first time. The district is celebrating 80 years this year, 2026. We were enacted in 1946. Obviously, we could trace back a lot further than that, but that's as far back as GDPUD has been around. So we are hoping to do our groundbreaking for the solar project. And then we are looking to do a big community festival. We're proposing either at the Grange or at the park, at the Garden Valley Park. So we wanted to kind of make it something fun, something for the kids. We are going to do food and bounce houses, and I'm thinking about getting Parks and Rec involved and just having kind of a big, huge community festival day for everybody to come out and enjoy the weekend. And obviously, it's going to be the middle of July, so I already think it's going to be hot, and it'll be the perfect day to go out and enjoy some fun in the sun and some water and some food and all the fun stuff that 80 years brings the district.
That's nice. That'd be a nice thing, I think.
So we're trying to get out in front of this so we can advertise it as much as we possibly can.
Sounds good. Okay, with that, I think we're done for today. You wanna make a motion to adjourn?
We don't have to make motions anymore. You just say, I'm adjourned.
Oh, okay, I'm adjourned. We're adjourned. But.
Is the recording stuff?
Yeah.